Hi, this is Heidi, episode 62, When Someone Doesn't Like You. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello, y'all. How is it going? How are you and your family doing with school, work, masks, and so forth? My children are teenagers, grades 8, 11, and 12. They miss their friends. And guess what? I miss them being at school all day. Although I love this slower schedule, I recharge by being alone. So I've had to carve out that time because a mom recharging is very important. Okay, y'all make sure you're subscribed to Hi, This is Heidi, and I appreciate everyone continuing to rate, review, and share. Thank you. People are always looking for ways to improve their mental health, especially now, and many need to know that it's okay to feel what they're feeling right now, whatever it is. Okay, my next several podcasts are topics people have reached out to me to dive into a little deeper. Today, we're going to talk about how to handle your emotions and actions when you think, or maybe know, that somebody doesn't like you, or how to stay in your head if you find that you're constantly ruminating on whether people like you or not. So first, we all need to know that our brains are hardwired with the desire to get people to like us. Millennia ago, we lived in caves. Our survival depended on being liked and protected by the pack. So we learned things to do and not do that are likable or not likable traits. And our brain thinks that people not liking us means death. And death is, of course, a core fear of ours, understandably. And thank heavens for that. But what happens is that if this fear is left unchecked or unmanaged, we act like crazy weirdos trying to get everyone to like us. Because subconsciously, we think we'll die if someone doesn't like us. And that isn't the case. Okay, so it's hardwired. Now your brain, your higher brain, your prefrontal cortex can step in and tell you three very important things. First, we don't know what other people are thinking. And it's okay if people don't like us. We actually don't know if they do or don't like us. But if for some reason we have evidence that they don't, it's okay. We will not die. Second, the worst thing to happen to us will be an emotion. We will feel maybe lonely or sad or hurt or disappointed or rejected or insecure. Do those feel good? No. I don't like them, but they are normal human emotions and we create them. This other person who maybe doesn't like us, they don't make us feel that way. We do. So good news, we don't know what other people are thinking, and the worst thing to happen is going to be an emotion that if we allow it, it will pass through our body in time. Now, third, we always need to be managing and redirecting our higher brain to focus on what we think of ourselves. Do we like ourselves? Because often we're looking outside of ourselves for validation that we are enough, that we're likable, that we're good. Remember, nothing external can fill an internal need. So if our deepest desire here is to stay alive and to feel good about ourselves, it's important to realize ultimately how we feel comes from our own thoughts, from the story we tell ourselves about our own worth. Yes, it feels great to have people praise us, do things, or say things that we interpret that means they like us. It feels good because we think thoughts like, oh, they like me. Oh, I'm so glad they appreciate what I did, or I did a great job with that. And it's easy to think those things, or we do it on default when we surround ourselves with people who reinforce those beliefs and feed evidence to us feeling good. Now, I want to first paint a picture of what happens when we want everyone to like us. And we've all been there, or we know people like this. It looks like people pleasing. So going around saying what we think the other person wants to hear so they're happy versus us standing in our integrity and being willing to disappoint others if that's really what's best and what's true for us. This is agreeing with someone's opinion when it isn't our opinion. It's trying to say what we think the other person wants to hear versus being thoughtful to say what reflects our own viewpoint. It looks like manipulation. I want everyone to like me, so I'm going to lie and show you a fake version of me. So notice how even if people like us with our superpowers of people pleasing and manipulating, they don't even like the real version of us. They like a fake us. And our brain knows that. So it doesn't even see it as real evidence for our own worth. And it gets a little tired of trying to remember who we need to be in front of whom, since we're putting on all these fake fronts. This is what it also looks like. It's us wanting everyone to like us. It totally comes across as insecurity and lacking confidence. Now, I 100% know the difference in how I act when I'm worried if people are liking me, when I'm worried about what they're thinking, versus wanting to be the real version of me and focusing on me liking the other person and being unattached to what they think of me. I like how that feels so much more. Now, y'all, I know it's hard to question who we are when we're around people who put off vibes of not liking us. I remember a long time ago spending a lot of time with my friend and her husband. And I do not think her husband liked me at all. I was kind of oblivious for a little while. Then his jabs and comments became more obvious. Now, it was at a time in my 20s when I was already a little insecure about starting my career and my dating life and a few other things. So I let it bother me a bit. I worried about it then, and then I kind of forgot about it as I didn't see them much. But I have reflected on him over the years and my insecurities, and I can see very clearly a few truths that I had not embraced yet then. I didn't yet understand that everybody is not going to like me, and everyone's not going to like you. We're all very different, and our differences are good. My friend's husband not liking me was not about me. It was about him. I don't think he likes bubbly blonde women, okay? That says nothing about me. It says everything about him. It's about his lens. And in reality, I have no idea what he thought or even what his lens is. I wish I had been more self-assured and confident to shine more of my own light and not worry that my light wasn't his type of light. Now, I know I was in his head, some of kind of trying to think about what might impress him, which really meant that even if he did end up liking me, it wasn't the real me. It was a pretend me. Now, I want to point out here, my friend's husband didn't and doesn't need to change. He doesn't need to like me. Just like some people don't like me, some people are not going to like you. And it's okay. I love the analogy Brooke Castillo from the Life Coach School says, some people just don't like peaches. That doesn't mean that you still shouldn't be the juiciest, ripest peach in the orchard. Now, recently, my husband and I were discussing Tom Brady, who I love and think is awesome. Now, since he left the New England Patriots, my husband won't even speak his name in our house. And I asked him why he doesn't like him. And he had some answer like, well, he's just a show off. And I asked, well, why shouldn't he show off? I like seeing him show off. And my husband stopped and contemplated this. And he said, I like New England teams and he left us, so I don't like him. Now notice how him not liking Tom, the greatest quarterback of all time, has nothing to do with Tom and all about my husband's lens of who he wants to like and not like. The work I needed to do back in my 20s and years after that was having the confidence that I am enough, exactly who I am, that I need to sparkle in my own specific way, and then I'll attract people who like me for me. It took time for me to feel comfortable and confident in my own skin and in my own shininess. For too long, I let the validation of other people be my gauge, and it just felt awful. Now, here's the big reality. Do we like everyone? Of course we don't. Some people are my vibe. Some people are not. That says nothing about them and everything about me. And it's okay. So aside from rethinking all of our past insecure moments, let's focus on today and going forward. What do we want to be thinking, feeling, and then doing around people who may not like us? Again, who knows if you know it or not? I hope you're not even trying to tally up who likes you or doesn't. But let's say you have a feeling or a sense from someone. Okay, here are a bunch of tips. First, notice the emotions that you occasionally feel. I want you to name them. I feel hurt. I feel rejection. I feel insecure. Maybe I feel pangs of guilt if I think they'd like me more if I had done something else. I remember a long time ago feeling left out when I felt like a certain friend didn't want to include me in her activities or her life. Now, what does left out feel like? I felt insecure and even kind of small when my friend's husband was rude and belittling to me back in my 20s. So notice these emotions and notice where you feel them in your body. I feel those like in my stomach and some in my heart. Now, second, I want you to say to yourself, I don't know what they think of me, and it's okay. Everybody doesn't have to like me. It's my job to like me. If these sentences can be a part of your daily mantra, you'll step into so much more self-confidence. I know I have. It has made such a difference. Now, third, ask yourself, who do I want to be now? Do I want to dislike back? Do I want to act graspy and insecure, or do I want to have a quiet and humble confidence? I've noticed it throws people off when you're kind and considerate to them and you don't mirror back their negativity. This is just my favorite question to ask myself in so many situations. Who do I want to be? This puts me back in my head and reminds me that I'm 100% responsible for how I act in any situation to anyone. If someone is rude or hurtful, who do I want to be? Do I want to be rude and hurtful back? Okay, truth told, for 10 seconds, I do. Then I get my head back on track and I realize being rude and hurtful isn't who I am. Now, asking who I do want to be also puts me back in the driver's seat of being my real self, not my fake self. Since I know my vibe attracts my tribe, it's actually okay that I'm repelling some people. I remember when the first person a long time ago unsubscribed to one of my weekly newsletters, and I told myself, I'm glad I'm repelling people because it means I'm getting better at attracting my tribe. Also, by me asking, who do I want to be? I subtly remind my brain that I don't know what other people are thinking or why they have the opinion they do. And their opinions really say nothing about me. Now, the next question to ask yourself is, why do you want this person to like you? Really sit and answer that question. Often the reason that I want someone to like me is because I really admire things about them. I think that they're cool or smart, or I respect things about them. I want to be like them. So subconsciously, I think if they like me, it means I'm also those things that I admire about them. Now, almost all of us will answer that question also by saying, I'll feel good about myself. I feel like I'm doing a good enough job, or I'm pretty amazing if these people feel that way too. It's just good for us to realize that is how we interpret if another person likes us or not. We feel like we're enough. We feel like we're amazing. And I have a secret for you. You can think that anytime you want. You don't need anyone to like you for you to think that. And it's because it's 100% true. And funny enough, people who believe that attract more confident people into their lives. Years ago, I was asked to teach a lesson at church, very last minute, and I did what I thought was a good job. And right after the lesson, as people left, the leader of the group very awkwardly wouldn't make eye contact with me, and it was just kind of weird. You know those first interactions after someone has just given a presentation to your group? Like, regardless if you hated it or not, it's just kind of socially normal to say, oh, thank you very much. That was wonderful. Now, not in a fake way, just kind of in an act of gratitude. It was just interesting. This woman couldn't say it to me, and it was just the two of us as I then gathered my stuff. And I remember feeling all of those kind of feelings wash over me like, oh no, wasn't this good? Well, you gave me 24 hours notice. I actually think I did a great job. I noticed that insecurity, then I very intentionally got still. And I said to myself, her reaction is not about me. It is about her. I don't know what she's thinking. I think she's nervous around me. This is about her, not about me. I think I wanted that praise and validation, and I kind of just wanted a thank you. But I realized in that moment, I can give that to me. She wasn't capable of it at that time, and that's okay. Now, years ago, when I was working, I had a coworker who insisted that our bosses didn't like him. I don't know either way, but what I know was how it affected him very deeply. Instead of focusing on what he did well and building his own confidence in the areas where he was strong, he turned kind of negative, almost like paranoid, trying to figure out why they didn't like him, what he could change, and then focused more on what was wrong with him. It affected how he contributed to the group, his attitude, and ultimately his employment there. All because, in my opinion, he fixated too much on what other people thought and didn't spend more time liking himself, trying to excel in his strengths, being okay with his contribution. Now, it's hard in a work situation because our brain thinks we need our boss to like us so we can keep our employment and our family isn't homeless. What I want you to see, though, is that he created that situation, and we all do it. Our actions from a place of insecurity look very different than our actions from a place of confidence. And we have control over feeling insecure or confident. Our bosses don't have control over that. So just notice how you act different when you're either trying to please someone who you think doesn't like you, or how you act when you know you're doing your best, you're trying to contribute, and you're focused on liking your results. Again, we don't know what the bosses or other people are thinking. Now, think about social situations or bigger groups we belong to. Notice how our brain hyper-focuses on the people we think don't like us, and we then don't focus on the 25 people who just invited us to lunch. It's just because our brain wants to fix any weakness and see what's negative. See what we can do to fix that. Sometimes this is why we want to be self-deprecating to a fault and get ahead of our weaknesses and point them out like road signs, like we can step in front of our insecurities. Now, I'm all for poking fun at myself, but it goes over the line with nonstop self-criticism. It's like our brain is saying, I don't want you to think this of me, so I'll think it first, point it out, and then I'll hope you like me anyway. We all know how we feel with people who do this on overdrive. It's coming from a place of, I really want you to like me, but I don't like myself, so I'll tell you actually all the reasons you shouldn't like me. Why not own openly our strengths and our weaknesses equally? I love how Jody Moore, my mentor and coach, teaches to give other people permission to be wrong about us. How cool is that? How much peace and confidence comes when we know we're right about who we are, and it's okay if someone else is wrong about us. That calms our brain down that we even need to explain ourselves. I've had to do that work as I've started my life coaching business and sent out emails and other social media announcing my plans and my business and such. I had to have my own back 100%. And even now, I continue to let it be okay that other people are wrong about the importance and life-changing work I'm doing. Some people think it's like a cute little hobby, and that's okay. It's very freeing that I don't need people to understand me or my work. I do, and that's enough. And so many of you get it, and I'm attracting the right people for me. I then don't focus my time on changing the minds of people who are stuck thinking something else. I get to focus on helping my people. I love letting people be wrong about anything about me, which I know people are. It's one of the most freeing and liberating feelings. Almost like putting down the bags of other people's insecurities and leaning into serving people who need your light and your talents. So what do we do when we think one of our children doesn't like us? Since if you have teenagers, for sure, you've had something said to you by a child about them not liking you, or you're a bad mom, or whatever it is. Remember, they are teenagers. It's okay that they're going to be wrong about us. It's okay that they feel this way. In fact, it's developmentally normal. We then get to choose, who do I want to be? I also ask, why in this moment do I want them to like me? Am I feeling some doubt in my choices or decisions, or is my self-worth bucket feeling low? then I know that's where my work needs to be. I can tell you we adults should never turn over our emotional well-being to our children. They're struggling to manage their own. They can't manage ours too. Wanting our teens to like us then might slide into not creating structure or rules or giving them exactly what they need right now to learn and grow. It's okay if they don't like us. We like how we're showing up as parents. My daughter has given me lots and lots of pushback over our rules, over media and phones and such. And the pushback at times includes hurtful and mean things. If I thought it was more important for her to like me, I'd loosen up on rules that could hurt her. So it's my job to validate my choices and decisions and my worth and let her not like it or feel whatever it is she's feeling. I want you all to know something truly liberating. You get to think whatever you want about yourself. You get to approve of yourself. In fact, that's your job. That's not the job of anyone outside of you. If you've taken the love languages test and you know that you need praise, please know you need to first provide heaps and heaps of praise to yourself. You might like it and crave it from others, but please develop ways to provide it to yourself too. Remember that internal need will never be filled enough from external sources. Now, all of you, regardless of your love language, all of you, please find time during the day to tell yourself 3 things you like about yourself. Or name 3 things you're proud of yourself doing that day. Or 3 parts of your body you like. Or the 3 talents you shine the world with. Last week, I was coaching in Jody Moore's private membership Be Bold with a client who had very, very low self-esteem, was depressed and anxious. I could tell that much of her day is spent in self-loathing and paired with people-pleasing and trying to make people happy. At the end of our session, kind of off topic, I asked her to tell me 3 things she likes about herself. And I don't know her, so I couldn't give her suggestions or tell her things that I like or admire. But beautifully and amazingly, she told me several things, and her body changed. Her shoulders pulled back. Her face lit up as she told me how well she organizes, how people look to her to do several important things. She started to smile. Our minds and body change when we intentionally focus on what we like about ourselves. This isn't arrogance. Arrogance is, I need to be better than you so I can feel good about myself. Arrogance is fake and false confidence. It's really insecurity. I want you to create a solid inner self-confidence of liking who you are, liking your strengths and liking your weaknesses and how they force you to improve and make you more human. You need to like you before anyone else will. It's just how it is. Confident people are attracted to confident people. Companies want to hire employees who know they can do a good job. My clients want me to believe I'm an amazing coach, which I am. It's my job to believe that and show that. Then my clients can lean on that confidence if they need it. Our children need us to like ourselves so they can learn to see their strengths, so they can like themselves. They see how we talk about ourselves. They hear what we say or we do to people please others. They learn either they are enough or they learn they need to seek the approval of others. Okay, that's what I have for you this week. I know these tools and topics are helping you. Do you want to build this type of confidence that you can really like yourself? Sign up for a free consult call on HeidiBenjaminson.com. Do it now. What are you waiting for? Confidence is contagious. Model this for your children. You've always hired coaches for them. Now it's time for you to have a coach. I'd be honored to be yours. Have a great week.